Please stand for the pledge. Call the meeting to order. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, a moment of silence, please. Thank you. In the roll call, starting with myself, I'm here. Commissioner Doug Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Stevens.
Here.
Commissioner Culbertson.
I'm here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Okay, we're all present and accounted for. We have no agenda item public comment today, so we'll move on to administrative business. We have a couple of proclamations for me to read. I'll begin with that. This is the proclamation for National Police Week. To all citizens of Leavenworth County, greetings. Whereas in 1962, President John Kennedy set aside this week to pay tribute to the law enforcement officers of this nation and to memorialize those who have fallen in the line of duty. And whereas the sheriff deputies and their support staff in Leavenworth County work with courage and dedication to enforce the laws fairly, to reduce crime and violence, and in general to improve the quality of life for everyone in this community. And whereas the dedicated men and women who have chosen law enforcement as a career often face unknown or extraordinary risk and danger in preserving our freedom and security. And whereas these women and men are mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, daughters and sons, and we give gratitude to their families for supporting them in their career. And whereas employees of the Leavenworth County Sheriff's Office play a growing role as ones who promote harmony and mutual respect among citizens in an increasingly diverse population. And whereas we wish to give everyone an opportunity to appreciate and thank the men and women of the Leavenworth Sheriff's Office who dedicate their lives to public service, now therefore be it resolved that we, the Leavenworth County Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim May 14th to the 20th to be National Police Week in Leavenworth County and urge all citizens to participate fully in observance. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and affixed the seal of Leavenworth County this 10th day of May 2023 in Leavenworth County, Kansas.
They want to get a picture of that proclamation.
Would you like to come up and say anything? You're here representing the sheriff, I understand.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to say on behalf of the Sheriff's Office and the FLP Lodge 47, we appreciate the continued support from the Commission as well as the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to get a pit? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and next we have the Child Care Provider Appreciation Day proclamation. Whereas the Kansas Department of Health and Environment and the Kansas Department for Children and Families and other organizations across the state and nation are recognizing child care providers on this day. And whereas child care provides a safe, nurturing place for the enrichment and development of millions of children nationwide and is a vital force in our economy. And whereas the pandemic illuminated how indispensable child care providers are for the well-being and economic security of the nation's young children, families, and communities. Whereas child care programs, which are mostly small businesses run and staffed predominantly by women, are still recovering from health and financial hardship stemming from the pandemic, while they have continued to meet the needs of families. And whereas Leavenworth County recognizes that child care has been a lifeline for families, communities, and whereas our future depends on quality of the early childhood experience provided to young children today, supporting Support for high-quality childcare represents a worthy commitment to our children's future. Now, therefore, I, Vicki Cos, Chairperson of the Leavenworth County Commission, do hereby proclaim May 12, 2023 as Child Care Provider Appreciation Day in Leavenworth County and urge all citizens to recognize child care providers for their important work. Lisa, would you like to come up and have a few words?
On behalf of all of the providers in Leavenworth County, thank you for this proclamation. As the proclamation said, COVID just brought to the forefront the need and the problems or the systemic issues that face child care providers in staffing, and folks can't work without us. And we're part of the economy, and
Yes.
we thank you for that.
And thank you for
Thank
all
you.
that you do.
Let's get a picture. Okay, you guys.
Come on. Get a picture?
I guess. Where do you want me? Right in the middle. Right in the middle. I've never done this. For all the times I've been here on other occasions.
We never took a picture.
Never, ever.
I'm proud to stand in front of you.
Here's the deal. I was always asking for money previously.
And you got it.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're still going to move forward with additional administrative business. Does anyone have anything?
I got just one thing. I was going through the archives and I found a letter that was pounded out on a typewriter back in 1990, March 19th of 1990, a letter that went to the legislature from the county commissioners. I won't bore you with the whole letter, but the high points are yet another costly mandated service, in this instance for shifting a primary mental health treatment to local agencies to be provided by the county out of local tax monies. They urged them to vote against it. This kind of legislation, which requires a vote of the people to provide social service but without giving us the money to pay for them, is just another example of legislative irresponsibility. If the legislature wants to issue another mandate to local governments for social service, and then the legislature should provide the money to fund such mandated services, or should allow the issue to go to a vote of the people. The legislature has already required that Leavenworth County real property must bear 85% or more of the total tax burden, which has created real hardship in Leavenworth County, since about 50% of our valuable real property is exempt from taxation. Another mandated social expense to be added to Leavenworth County real property taxes without a vote of the people would be adding insult to injury. The people are sick and tired of having to pay for social service experience without having a chance to vote on them. This was 1990. It was John Junk, Ed Powers, and Kevin Reardon that sent this letter. So,
Still rings true today.
and we still have the same amount of tax exempt. Actually, we got more tax exempt property than we had back in 1990.
Yeah.
So, bottom line is Topeka doesn't listen to the locals.
Is that the ghost of commissions past?
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on. And then they wonder why the taxes have increased so much, because the state keeps putting unfunded mandates on the counties. And like I said, it's businesses. There's a certain amount of businesses they want to do stuff for, and a certain class of people. The majority of the people they don't want to do anything for, except pay your taxes and move on. So.
Yep.
I have one thing for Mark. Mark, as we prepare for the budget coming up, could you get us a list of how much information about how much does each department have in unspent budget year for year on average as we prepare for the budget?
Certainly, I can have that when we go into the budget meetings. I can have that for you. I can get that for you before then.
Are you talking about carryover?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we require a certain amount of carryover, don't we? Certain percentage?
At the fund level.
Yeah. Right.
Commissioner Culbertson, did you have anything?
Nope, I don't have anything.
Okay, well,
He's in Florida. He should be happy.
I'm going to go last, and I just have something that I would like to read or to clarify. So, for several weeks now, I've made a concerted effort to refrain from losing patience with the disrespect demonstrated by Representative Pat Proctor toward the Board of County Commissioners, our county administrator, and many of the individuals who pay taxes in our county. His newsletters and videos have consistently provided inaccurate information designed to create a false narrative regarding several pieces of legislation that have negatively impacted the majority of our citizens. In an effort to resolve conflict created by Representative Proctor, one of our commissioners, along with our county administrator, asked for a meeting with Representative Proctor. His response was to express a willingness to meet with the commissioner, but he refused to meet with Mr. Lothry. Although not surprised, I find that refusal quite disturbing. In turn, Mr. Lothry asked Representative Proctor to provide him with the documents he used to make claims that Mr. Lothry had lied to us and the public with a promise that if incorrect, Mr. Lothry would publicly admit his error. Representative Proctor provided said documents, which interestingly enough supported Mr. Lothry's assertions and proved that Representative Proctor to be less than honest with our citizens. My guess is that an apology will not be forthcoming from Representative Proctor, given his past record of not accepting accountability for his actions. However, Mr. Lothry is fully prepared to provide updated figures to our citizens, which he has also provided to our Board of County Commissioners. In closing, I would also like to add that Representative Proctor and our other representatives finished the legislative session with an excess of $2 billion in revenue, which could have been used to return the local ad valorem tax relief funds to our county, which would have resulted in a 3 mil reduction in our mill levy for all taxpayers in the 2024 budget.
That first one you're talking about was the veterans bill.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's in reference to and Mr. Proctor has created a video.
Yeah.
Along with another newsletter, and I just think that I want to clarify that our county administrator has not lied to the public, and he has not lied to the Board of County Commissioners. And it's at this point, we don't have a YouTube thing to put out there, so I felt compelled to go ahead and finally say what I have been feeling for the past month.
Can I comment on that?
Yes. Stephen?
I've been really struggling to try to keep this not a personal thing, and but the numbers are the numbers. I mean, we either have 9,000 veterans in Leavenworth County, or we have 3,500 veterans. But even if we have 3,500, we would still, even if we accepted the numbers that have been offered of 3,500, which we do not accept, because I don't believe that's correct. I mean, all the evidence we have was not correct. It would still create a $600,000 shortfall of revenue, and that would just be the county portion. It would be millions of dollars if you count the school districts and the other entities in the county. So whether it's $8 million or whether it's $3 million, the piece of legislation was flawed, and there's a better piece of and the whole thing that I don't understand is, I thought Representative Proctor was embracing the bill, the other bill. So I thought we had a fix here. So I don't want it to be personal, but we gotta get the numbers straight.
Okay,
It
you're
has
talking
become
about
personal when he specifically names our county administrator and indicates that he has lied to the public and has lied to us.
I'm just saying I have been trying to
nobody wants this to be personal.
Yeah.
And I agree with
Kind of
you,
a
Mike.
quick
But also,
comment.
are you talking about the bill that would run it through the Homestead Act?
that was supposedly the compromise.
And that would have income limits and property value limits?
Yeah.
They removed the income limit.
Right? They
But
removed it.
but the average person would have to have income limits and property value limits.
Right. It removed the income limits on veterans and increased the property value limit.
I just got one more thing to say on this. We all support the veterans.
Absolutely.
Vicki and I, Army brats, we live this. We have military retired here over years and years. But what bothers me is with the excess of revenue that's coming in, why aren't some of these programs handled at the state level and kept at county and city? Why can't they deal directly with this and pay back whatever it may be or whatever they're trying to do instead of bringing it down and letting the counties and the cities have it?
This question was asked on March 19th, 1990.
But here we are again. Anyway, I hope the representatives
33 years later.
We'll take a look at that and see that we've got to fix this. Thank you, Vicki.
I would like the representative and all of our representatives and the senators, let's take the focus off of this giving exemptions and get it on the SCR 1611 that would cap the property taxes. That's already been through the Senate. We need the votes in the House, and as much of a go-getter as Mr. Proctor is, if he would focus his effort on that, that would be a real win for Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt very strongly that I am defending my county administrator and the information that he has provided
Well, the
to us,
commissioners
and it is
too.
accurate. Well, and he attacked, but the commissioners is one thing, fine.
Handle it.
But he is not, I'm not going to sit idly by and allow him to continue to defame our county administrator.
I agree. And also, they all voted against the local ad valorem tax refund.
Correct.
So I just wish they would do something for everybody in this county, not just certain businesses and certain classes of people. It's part of being an American,
It's
paying taxes.
It's just that simple, Doug. It's just that simple.
Are we still in administrative business?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I do want to recognize the mayor of Tonganoxie is in the audience, Mr. Freeze.
I recognized him when he walked in.
Oh, I didn't see him until just a minute ago.
Commissioner Hengela is here as well. From the city.
And Commissioner Hengela.
Commissioners, I first just want to say thank you for your support. Obviously, it means a lot to me. I truly meant what I had shared with Representative Proctor, and that is if for somehow the data that I got from the U.S. Census Bureau and the Bureau of Labor Statistics was inaccurate, I would own it. So the data that I received from Representative Proctor, which is a lot more detailed than what I had access to, so I really appreciated receiving that. In the spreadsheet that was sent over, it recognized 9,791 veterans in Leavenworth County. I think the confusion about this 3,721 veterans, that's the number of veterans in Leavenworth County with a disability rating. There are 3,721. I said there was somewhere around, I think, 2,800 or something like that, but there are actually 3,700. I was just using an estimate based on the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 27% of veterans have a disability, and the Census Bureau saying there were 9,000 approximately veterans. The data he has is much more detailed and accurate, and it comes from the Department of Veterans, so I think it's good data to use. The confusion being that the 3,721 that are disabled, there are other veterans who do not receive a disability rating, or a lot of veterans who are not eligible to receive benefits through the DAV, because, I said DAV, but that's the charity we give to, but through the Veterans Association, because if you are in the reserves or National Guard and you never are deployed, you don't earn those benefits necessarily. So that's where the discrepancy comes. There are 9,791 veterans, people who served. The Census Bureau defines what a veteran is. It does not include active service military. The data that Mr. Proctor sent over does not include active duty service military folks. It's 9,791 as of the U.S. Census in 2020. That's how many veterans live in Leavenworth County. We do have a disproportionate number because we have the VA here. That's where this comes from. Other counties don't have as many, but that's how it happens. The numbers are accurate. I stand behind them, and I was able to define them even more. I believe it's the home ownership claim about a lot of veterans don't own homes. According to all statistics, veterans own homes at a higher rate than the civilian population, anywhere between 58 to 78%. And the older the veterans get, the more likely they are to own homes, which is also true of the general population. So, regardless of what percentage you use, if it's the 58%, which was the lowest one I found, and that was in Forbes magazine, that would put us somewhere around $1.8 million, just the county share of taxes, just the county share. If you go to the 78%, which was the Urban Institute for Research and also the Insurance Institute, the 78%, it would be more like $2.4 million. So somewhere in the middle of those two, $2.1 million, which is pretty close to what I had originally estimated. I stand behind those numbers. They are verifiable by anybody who wants to do the research online. So I thought this was over. I thought it was all done with, but apparently it's not. And I do not appreciate people calling me out when it's not true. If I make a mistake, I'll own it, and I would have owned it today in public here. But it's not a mistake. It's accurate. I think the representative has put out misinformation either by not understanding how taxation works or by not understanding how they got to the number of 3,721 veterans, that all of those folks have a disability. Not all of them qualify because their disability is on the low end, but all of them have a disability.
I have one more thing. This is not quite on that, but I received a letter from, I think it's maybe one of your constituents, but I just want to read one part of it, which gets to what we're talking about. I had my house sided in the spring. It's difficult to make improvements to make your home look nice when you feel it will cost extra in the long run because they just raise your taxes. They have raised the appraised value of my home $25,000. That is a raise of 14%. The county is raising, notice she said the county is raising the value of my house by 49% from the time I purchased it in 2015. From the time I had it appraised in 2021, and nothing had been changed. So this is what we are getting all the time, and this has got to be changed.
Right.
And we have, and they say that it's the county, but it's really the state.
It is.
And I just don't know how we get the pressure on that.
And you can't fix it by taking more people off the tax rolls and more businesses off the tax rolls.
But you just feel bad for these folks.
I do. But a simple vote with the local ad valorem tax would have got us at least 3 mil reduction. At least. It's probably 4 on this year, close to 4 this year.
Yeah.
But we get it every March 1st.
But if nobody's wanting to help the local governments here at the state level and just want to exempt more people off the taxes, it's going to get worse.
Because somebody has to pay.
It's the price of doing business is not going down, and we're not getting more taxable property. We get more tax or property taken off the tax rolls in this county.
And that was the thing when we invited the representative and any of the other representatives. We've had some that have come, but they need to come and meet with us and talk to us about it. Face us and talk. Let's talk about it.
All we can do is pray for them, pray for wisdom, or pray to forgive them because they know not what they do. Anyways.
Okay, we can move. Thank you. We can move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion in a second. Begin voting with myself. Aye.
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 Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. All right. Now we are moving down to formal board action. We need to consider a motion to end the COVID-19 disaster declaration. Gentlemen.
Never thought I'd live long enough to see that. Especially when I had it.
Me too.
Well, Commissioners, we come before you 38 months and 15 days ago. I sat before this, not this board, but most of this board requested a disaster declaration for COVID-19. where it actually started in November of 2019. It escalated till it became a nationwide scenario. With that, it comes with many thanks of county departments and private sector that helped out, from anywhere from Airbnbs to local hotels, putting up shelters for affected COVID individuals, from Council on Aging, from delivering homebound or meals to homebound people that were quarantined within their homes for 14 days, to Sisters of Charity, and the list goes on and on, also including, I should say, all of our county departments. Continuity of operations of the county never failed. The virtual concept came to light. Jamie and I, we were in daily contact. We produced over 40 incident action plans throughout this process and daily situation reports that was submitted to the state. Over 183 situation reports were submitted to the state of Kansas, where we stayed. Kind of running down through, I got a whole list if you want to hear what we had, but we as a team provided over 1,709 pieces of personal protective equipment, from gloves to masks, and that's not including the test kits. And Jamie's got the figure on the test kits. I mean, I've got some of what we picked up for him. When I say we, the emergency management, when I say that we had the option of receiving the strategic national stockpile. When we received it, it was outdated merchandise, and it was at best the best we could start with when this all took place. I had a trailer that was loaded that these guys would give me a hard time of, what do you got all these gloves and masks and everything for? Well, it came to play from everything we were taught over the years that we needed to have some type of a supply. We still have a supply on hand, and we will continue to provide those agencies, medical facilities, health department, EMS, local responders, as the supply demand becomes better. We're depleting that resource, and we have it down at the annex, but that's slowly going away, and we'll continue to do that. But travel time for the emergency management office, we, in those 3 years, put over 30,000 miles, in travel time for windshield time and delivering PPE and driving to Topeka and back. So, Jamie, I don't know if you want to touch base.
On the test kits, as Chuck alluded to, Chuck was a supplement to us. We were also getting it from direct. So I believe somewhere in the neighborhood of 14,000 came from Chuck, and about double that came from, we were close to about somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 50,000 tests that we did over the last 38 months. So, and we continue. We still have test kits, and we'll still test if those, but now with testing being readily available in home kits and such, that obviously has downplayed considerably in the health department. Part of this also was vaccine and vaccine delivery. Chuck would bring us the ancillaries, not necessarily the vaccine to us, but ancillaries and things from the state and help deliver some of that kind of stuff. So this disaster declaration really benefited not just the health department, but the county as a whole, and it was crucial and important that we maintained it throughout this time. But we're at the time now that it can finally go away.
We came before the board on July 8th, 2020 to continue the disaster till rescinded. We were asking that the board rescinds the disaster declaration of COVID-19. It ends federally on May 11th. We felt that it was appropriate to go before the board and have it rescinded.
Yep. Need a motion? Need a motion to end the COVID-19 disaster declaration.
Motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. I'll begin voting with myself. Aye.
Can we have a minute?
Do we have discussion? Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to thank. We've been through a lot, and I just want to thank Jamie. I know. I mean, I know we've had the pushback, and you've had all the
the comment and the people, and we've received hundreds of emails during that time, and I just think it's worthy of us making a few comments about it. It's just been quite a thing. I mean, as soon as I got elected, there was a tornado, and then the pandemic, and it's been hard. I think there's no doubt about it. It's been a hard time, and people have lost loved ones. I lost an uncle. It's been difficult, and I think we just appreciate all you've done. And I know we always haven't seen eye to eye on every little piece of it, but there's a lot of moving parts with the pandemic. But thank you both for everything
absolutely,
you've done.
guys. I was very impressed with the way it was handled.
And I'm sure they did put in more than 8 hours a day.
Oh, my goodness, yes. I think Jamie just kind of slept there, I believe, and Chuck down in his space.
I appreciate, again, recognizing the staff and what Chuck and Jamie's folks have done throughout this. 38 months, 15 days, is that what you said? So it's been a long time. Yeah. And while I know that we've kind of returned to normal, there are still parts of our economy and our society that have not fully recovered from this. But we also should acknowledge that we appreciate the support that we receive from the government and the supplies, and that they continue to allow that even up until, I suppose, this month, until they actually end the federal declaration. But Jamie's folks, above and beyond the hours they put in during, especially at the beginning of this thing, when we weren't sure what was going on. Yeah. But one other thing that I did want to kind of call out, since we're ending our local declaration, we really had that in place so that we could participate and take advantage of federal assistance.
Right.
We didn't use that as a hammer to put our own restrictions on people at the local level. I think the Board of County Commissioners was very, I don't even know the words to use really, but the approach that you took, I think, was at the lowest local level is where the control should be had. And I believe our citizens appreciate that. And I think that we had less than a week of actual local orders in place. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It was less than a week, and that was just because it first started. The President of the United States said there's this issue. You need to get on top of it. So for, I want to say like 4 days, something along those lines, we had a local order in place, and that was it. The rest of the time, it was other orders that the citizens of the county fell under. And that's maybe some information that people didn't realize either.
Yeah, that required a few Friday meetings before holidays.
It required several meetings before holidays throughout the pandemic. So, and the other thing, during that time, there were a lot of counties that lost their health officers because of the stress. Mm-hmm. And so I know that, Jamie took it well, and he was working, 15, 20-hour days during that time. But also I think that, I want to give some credit to the Board of County Commissioners that you weren't antagonistic towards staff during that time, even though there was pushback at the local level. So I appreciate what you all did during the pandemic as well. So we're recognizing Jamie, but I want to also recognize Board of County Commissioners.
I remember when that first happened, it was like fear. That first little bit, it was fear. A lot of people, especially older people, had a lot of fear.
Mm-hmm. Well, when hospitals are full, you get it, and you can't go for treatment. Yeah. You either get better or you don't.
Yeah.
That was something. Hopefully, we don't have another one. You can just tell your grandkids this one.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Like the 1918 flu or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was.
The 1918 flu actually lasted almost 4 years. Even though they came up with a remedy, it was still ongoing for
that time frame.
And I don't know how, everybody's got different feelings about the vaccine, but one thing about it is it was developed in just remarkable. The technology, the medical technology we have now to get that vaccine developed. That's amazing. I mean, it's amazing.
But I'll say one for Jamie. I think he enjoyed it when I came over and he got to give me mine. It was almost like a running start at my arm. So
Give you a little pain.
And the smile is what gave it away. But kidding aside, it was well handled.
When they drew the dartboard on your arm, you got a little nervous.
That's exactly right, Mark.
Well, have him shove that stick up your nose. Take the shot any day.
Got a motion and a second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I'll begin voting with myself. Aye.
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 Jeff?
I vote aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Okay, now we will consider a motion to approve KDOT agreement for construction engineering services by Finney and Turnip Seed for Bridge ST-100.
Come on, Bill.
Welcome, Bill.
Morning, Commissioners. Today for your consideration is that agreement from KDOT for the construction engineering services. Like our previous agreement with KDOT, things are getting held up at the KDOT level through their legal counsel. So this project actually had its pre-construction meeting last week. It is scheduled to start next week, some point midweek next week. As soon as we have a firm date from the contractor, we'll be putting that out all over social media and through the emergency management office. So this project is well past the point that we would normally see an agreement, but at the same time, we do still need to execute this. We are responsible for 20% of the cost of these inspection services for the off-system bridge program. So it is within our budget authority not to exceed $26,000.
Not to exceed. So the $112,000
Total cost.
is total cost. So we won't exceed $26,000.
Yes, we were responsible for $26,000.
And we're kind of, the detour's not horrible on this at all. It's probably one of the easier detours. It's not a big deal. So, you ready for a motion?
I'm ready for a motion.
I move that we approve KDOT agreement for construction engineering service by Finney and Turnip Seed for Bridge ST-100, not to exceed $26,000.
Second.
A motion and a second. I'll begin voting with myself. Aye.
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 Commissioner Culberson?
I vote aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Commissioners, before we move on, just real quick, and Bill, I'm sorry I should have asked this before, but because we refer to ST-100, that's Stranger Township.
Right,
We know that.
sorry.
That's 100, but could you just briefly where the location of that bridge is? So
179th and Fairmount.
Yeah,
There you go.
between 175th and 179th on Fairmount Road.
Yeah, so it is a very heavily traveled road. That's why I kind of wanted to
Yeah.
call it out,
Okay.
let people know. And what's the approximate construction timeline?
I believe the completion date is mid-October.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
It's going quicker.
Yes.
I'm going to ask Bill about, let's talk about 16 Highway. What do we know? What's the latest information on the 16 Highway project by KDOT?
Well, we have nothing officially. The information that was put out by KDOT indicated that they had a utility, which I believe was electrical, that they did not account for prior to putting up the signboard that had not been relocated by Evergy, I believe it was. And so they delayed the project on the Thursday before the Monday closing. They put out the Facebook post. They did a release the next day on Friday for a press release. They have not officially put forth any completion date. They did say in that Facebook post that they were going to hold the completion date of October, I believe it was 15th or 13th, and not add working days to the project. That would be unusual since most KDOT projects are a working day project, not a completion date project, and it was at no fault to the contractor that the project was delayed. So we anticipate probably the week after, maybe even May 30th is now their date, but we don't have that officially.
Has Mr. Barrett reached out to you at all?
I've spoke to him. They did not provide verbal start date. They were waiting on to see how this utility relocation goes, and then they'll be putting out another press release.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, it kind of seems like KDOT's being operated like KDHE. We don't know what's happening. I mean, and that's a concern of folks up around the business up there, and folks, kind of feel like they changed their schedule to accommodate this, and then now they're kind of being jerked around. I hope KDOT knows that.
I think they're aware. When we have
They're getting calls.
I say they're getting calls. We're getting calls. I'm sure you've gotten calls. I think that they're aware of the situation. It is I think that their stance is it's a safety improvement project that had several fatalities. So the inconvenience to the public is unfortunate, but in their position, they look at it as a major safety improvement. And the business that was there, or is there currently, is a part of that improvement. So I think that they're hopeful to get this thing going and wrapped up as soon as possible.
And it will be a major safety improvement.
Oh, it will be.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that KDOT's are spending money in Leavenworth County, because we got a lot of other places they could spend money. So
yeah,
bring the funding. We'll match.
At least it's an overhead utility that they could tell right away was in the way, unlike some of our projects where we've been informed that the utilities are relocated and we start the project and find out that they actually weren't relocated.
Yeah.
I just don't like to get information that then we put out information that it's going to close next Monday, and then we put that out on social media and everything, and the next thing we know, they've changed it.
Yep.
That's utilities. I mean,
But they should have known.
Well, there's times when we should have known too, and we didn't. So I'm just saying,
Takes 18 months usually to get stuff moved.
Yeah.
That was in the good old days.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Doug. It was
Probably
18 months.
longer now.
Well, we're just I know Bill is trying to facilitate this as much as we can through the county, but it is a KDOT project.
right.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's not.
Our dog's
our-
really not in that fight, is it?
Not really, but yet,
Yeah,
just like taxes. They think it's us.
The one thing I will state is the delay of the project will hopefully provide us the adequate time necessary to get the dust control placed on George Road prior to the start of the project. So I had concerns that we did not have that scheduled in time because of the lack of the agreement with KDOT prior to the project, but this delay should allow us to have that placed before the project, as long as we're not delayed by Scottwood Industries.
When do they have a date specific when they're going to do that yet?
No, I've asked and have not received a firm date. I've just been given the general time frame of 2 to 3 weeks.
Thanks for all you do.
All right.
Okay, next agenda item. We need to consider a motion to accept the bid from Donlinger Construction for the E48 Bridge replacement project as part of the KDOT Local Bridge Grant in an amount not to exceed $439,513.
Commissioners, this bridge is located on 255th Street, north of K192 Highway. It was a recipient of the local bridge grant through the Kansas KDOT Local Projects Division. That grant is for $150,000. It is a reimbursement grant, so we have to expend the funds on the bridge and then request reimbursement. So we pay for it and then get the money back after the project's probably completed. The bid did come in below the engineer's estimate. We had 3 bidders. 2 were over the engineer's estimate and 1 was below the engineer's estimate, but it was a competitive bidding process with at least more than 1 bid this year. The amount that was bid, the $418,513 for the project, is less than we had anticipated inflation increases to be for our CIP. And so we had anticipated approximately $453,000 for the cost of the structure. In its replacement, we will be reimbursed for $150,000 of those dollars. And so the cost to the county after the reimbursement will be approximately $150,000 less than what is in our CIP. So that will be able to help us offset some of the
others, yeah.
It's extremely high. It's a different type of structure than what we bid on ST100. That was a haunch slab bridge. Due to the length of it, it's all dictated by length, but that was an added cost due to inflation. So we'll use those funds to offset in our CIP some of that. It won't cover the entirety of that cost, but it will cover about half of it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Commissioner Culberson's area.
You probably want to go ahead and do it.
Okay. I move that we accept the bid from Donlinger Construction for the E48 bridge replacement project, KDOT local bridge grant, in the amount of $439,513.
Second.
A motion and second. I'll begin voting with myself. Aye.
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 Commissioner Culbertson?
I vote aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Bill.
All right, and I didn't mention it, but this project has an anticipated beginning date of approximately June 15th.
Okay.
And we will be back before you here in the coming weeks with the approval of the contract.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Going to keep knocking these bridges out.
Yeah.
We're going to go a little bit out of order, and we're going to do additional public comment
Okay.
at this time, if that's all right.
That's fine with me.
And so, Renee Larkin-Bepler, come on up. Welcome.
Morning.
Thank you very much. Morning, I'm Renee Larkin, proud mother of Joshua Bepler. Josh was tragically killed by a gunshot wound in the barn of his home, September 6, 2021. Your only child was killed by a gun, and you received two significantly different autopsy reports, one dated October 31st, 2021, and the amended autopsy dated February 26, 2023. Would you want an explanation of both autopsy reports? Would you wonder why the words "with hardball ammunition present" were removed from the autopsy, the amended autopsy? I'm not asking you guys to answer my questions. I'm just trying to get you my information. Would you wonder why Forensic Medical, which I believe is contracted by Leavenworth County, did not receive an incident report or photography until approximately 17 months after the death of my son? Would you also wonder why a county sheriff did not notify forensics immediately upon notification of an incorrect terminal position of your child in an original autopsy? Would you wonder why there is no body cam footage of the gun or guns present at the crime scene? I emphasize, prior to removal of the guns from the crime scene. Would you wonder why there is no fingerprinting of the gun or guns or of any of the scene that I'm aware of? I was not able to see the written reports, as I'm guessing most of you are aware of by now. Would you wonder why body cam was not uploaded until October 6th, 2021? Again, Josh sadly passed away September 6th, 2021. I have asked Sheriff Dedeke to please confirm where body cam was stored for approximately 30 days prior to being uploaded. I have not read my email this morning, but as of yesterday, he had not responded to me where the body cam had been stored. Would you wonder why your attorney had to file a motion to compel to answer discovery questions? These questions were supposed to be answered by the counsel for Leavenworth County. There was a delayed response. Would you wonder why Honorable Judge King questioned the delayed response of the counsel of Leavenworth County while representing a public official? As you can hear, there are many concerns that continue to lead to distress regarding my son's tragic death. All parents deserve answers. May the Lord of peace himself give us his peace at all times in every situation. Thank you kindly for your time and your attention this morning. I appreciate you getting back with me with regarding my concerns as well as my requests for the records from the Leavenworth County Sheriff. I feel it might be appropriate as well at this time for the protocol and procedures of the Leavenworth County Sheriff and forensic medical to be reviewed. I do believe that forensic medical, again, is contracted by Leavenworth County, and both agencies seems to be referring me back to the other agency and I need an explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question for the county counselor. The reference to county, that was a county attorney she was referencing, not the county counselor, correct?
I can assure you it was not myself. It either been the county attorney or the counsel for the sheriff's office.
So in the county attorney's office?
The sheriff's attorney.
In the sheriff's office, okay.
Molly, her name is Molly.
Okay.
And Judge King had questioned her, and I had to have a hearing to get discovery.
I just wanted to clarify that it wasn't our attorney.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, not to complicate matters, I will make appropriate inquiries of forensic medicine as to requests that have gone unanswered, and I'll provide my contact information to the young lady.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have, as you mentioned, I've been in contact with Bill Lethwich. He's the HR director in Tennessee. And I have several emails from them as well. From Kelsey Gordon, he was the ME, the medical examiner. And she said that they have requested that both agencies are pointing fingers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry about the whole thing.
I don't believe we have any additional public comment, or nobody has signed up for additional public comment. So we will go on to our presentations and discussion items. Does anyone, I can start since it's this past week. Let's see, I attended a luncheon for the Workforce Partnership at Tampico for an informational luncheon as a member of the Workforce Partnership CEO board. I attended the transit kickoff for the City of Leavenworth's Ride Leavenworth event that was the following day on Thursday, which was well attended, and we are really pleased to have local bus service in the City of Leavenworth, and I think that every day the ridership grows, so the word is getting out and people are using it, and I think it's a huge benefit to the residents of the City of Leavenworth. And my understanding is that there may be some changes to the scheduling through the guidance center, trying to accommodate some people's work schedule so that people can utilize the service for getting back and forth to work within the city. So I think that'll be a nice change. They're going to my understanding is they will stagger the 3 buses so that they begin operation at 7 a.m. and then they have another one that starts at 7:30 and then 8 o'clock so that they can try to accommodate those individuals. That's just a report that I received yesterday. And then I attended the Night at the Races on Friday evening, which was very well attended and, as always, a fun event. And yesterday I participated in the Mental Health Task Force, which we only have one more meeting, and then there's going to be a changeover, and it will be an advisory board for the Guidance Center for their grants and some of the things that they're going to be required to do, which the information will be forthcoming to the Board of County Commissioners. And then last evening, I attended the City of Leavenworth's City Commission meeting, and there were proclamations there, too, for child care.
So Mental Health Task Force has evolved to an advisory board.
For the for the guidance we've kind of wrapped up, because all
Right.
task force have a. And thank
Right.
you, Doug. I still want to recognize that this all began with the work of Commissioner Smith, and he kind of tagged me to
Well, it couldn't wait till you got on the board.
So
It had to be started. We had to get going.
and it's been going ever since, which I think is just an amazing thing that it has continued through this. A lot of times the steam runs out and the interest ends, and there's been so many accomplishments. We now have therapists in almost all of the schools through the grants that were obtained. We have the crisis center, which was one of the goals of the task force to try to help get that up. Stand up that thing. There's been other grants that have written, the Samsha grant, and just so many things that have happened through the work and goals and things of that task force. And I learned yesterday, I thought we were losing Kim Knight, who I consider to be the spark that really kind of pushed me into really wanting to try to figure out something to do, because she was one of the vice principals at Leavenworth High School. And she came before the Board of County Commissioners with less than a warm welcome. And I think that she has been amazing. And I thought we were going to lose her on the advisory and the task force, but she's not leaving the community. She's just moving jobs. She got a promotion, and she'll be at Fort Leavenworth. But she will still be participating in that. And she has a lot of passion for mental health for kiddos in the schools. So she's going to be a great representative. And that's all I have. So.
I really don't have anything.
I zoomed in on the Port Authority meeting last week.
I forgot about that.
And making some good progress, I think. Then I met with Bill and Tim Smith and Jamie at the fire department to talk about there was an issue with the contractor on this project on KDOT, whether we had been promised by KDOT that the fire department would have a route to get their fire trucks out north, and my understanding is that has been resolved now. So, and on, I guess tomorrow night, we're having at 6 o'clock at Linwood at the community center. We're going to have a town hall to talk, and I'm going to talk about the fire district issue. Anybody wants to come talk about that, they're welcome to come, and we'll talk about other county issues as well. But that's the main thing. I want people to feel like they had a chance to voice their opinion on the fire district.
Let's talk about state issues.
Well, maybe.
Jeff, is there anything you would like to share?
No, I don't have anything to share this week.
Okay, good. Have fun.
I just got a couple.
Are you on the beach?
Don't be asking those hard questions.
Not in a hot tub this time.
Michael. Okay, I was fortunate enough to attend the kids fishing derby out at Bernard Park for young folks 15 and under. Of course, we put the suicide fish in there, and I guarantee you, when the horn blew to put your rod and reel in, the fish were coming out left and right. I think good time was had by all. I got to grill out with some of the Lansing staff. I enjoyed that. That's been going on for 22 years. Also, at the Lansing Council meeting, City Administrator Tim Bandel made a point to say during his remarks, and I wanted to share that with everybody. When they received that $1.3 million grant, he made a point to make sure that the county, he thanked the county for helping with that to make sure it got done. So that's a partnership right there, and I appreciate him going out of his way to say the staff assisted with that. Friday, did the mayor's State of the City address, even though the mayor wasn't there, and President of the Council, Kerry Brungart, did a good job. And also on the fishing derby, they're considering, y'all know that Commissioner David Trinkle passed away not too long ago, and that was basically his baby, as we call it. And there's some movement on that to maybe rename that. But it was a good time held by all.
Good.
Thank you, Vic.
That's great. Okay.
Well, I appreciate Lansing showing the initiative to apply for grants instead of just, this is the second round, right?
Yeah. Well, the way it came about, Doug, is they really used the thing that the county had assisted with, and they did some tweaking to do it together. I guess my point is, it's whenever you work together, whether it be like a City of Leavenworth, Lansing on the intersection, or you do it on Eisenhower with the county, and all of us do it together. Anytime you can participate and make it a joint effort, the type of success that you'll probably get from the state is usually up quite a bit.
Right,
percentage.
and that, this was denied the first time. They
Right.
got it on the second round,
Right.
but they kept applying.
Yep.
And I'm glad for that. And then hopefully, with our transportation study, this will help on that too.
Yeah.
So.
Me too.
Well, if there's nothing further, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second. Beginning voting with me. Aye.
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 Jeff?
Aye.
Okay.
Enjoy yourself,
Have fun,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.